welcome everybody. We will get started. Welcome to the Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity in Federal Government. Pop that next thing for me there. You want to see the kind of folks that's joining us today? This is a super hot topic across all agencies, right, everybody? This is super hot. I love it. I love it. A quick disclaimer, this event, you're not going to believe this, Joe, but this event is not affiliated or endorsed by any agency, including the GSA. It's provided for informational purposes only, and everybody that's here from the government, it's not a commitment to buy from any vendor, including Divine, who is sponsoring this event. It is being recorded, and we do appreciate you guys joining us. Next, I'm not used to this. We love participation, don't we, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
We love participation. So click that next thing. In the chat, you're going to see the docs. This is the session docs for here. We also love when you have questions. So you can raise your hand, pop that next thing, raise your hand, Q&A, love that. And if you have something you don't want everybody and their mother to see, click the next thing for us, Joe. Private dialogue can happen with Matt Sweet from Divine. And you can reach out to him at any time. We also love interaction. So do me a favor, just so the interaction's working, click on that doc and make sure that you can get to that work drive, which has all the session documents, and give me a thumbs up if you can. If you can't, we're gonna make sure you get it another way. But can somebody check that link and that you can actually get to that? Fantastic. We got it. Everybody getting it? All right, looks good to me, Joe. Looks good to me. All right, here we go, Joe. You ready for this?
Go.
You ready for this? Kimberly says, address is the best briefing ever, right? And I got a couple extra ones from some folks that came in late. Best briefing ever. Address how it pertains to procurement personnel responsible for IT and cyber contracts. You going to talk anything about that?
Yes.
All right. Darren, if it's presented using plain language.
You will find out, but yes.
I guess it depends on what language you think is plain.
Okay.
All right. Nala, address establishing risk parameters at agency level.
Yes.
All right. ISO. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but that's what for Department of Transportation. AI definition examples.
Yes.
Fantastic. Natalie says there are additional materials provided as reference.
Yes.
And matter of fact, you got them because that's a load of them there, aren't there, Joe?
Yep.
Great job. And Tamara, I think everybody wants this. This is how you filled it out, right, Tamara? How AI will change my employment position. She's yelling
I will
at
speak to that.
Sabrina, I can get concrete guidance. You can do concrete guidance?
Yeah.
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 Marion from SSA, I got information about mitigating risk when federal contractors use AI. That's an interesting one.
I will speak to that.
All right. Angela from HUD, I learned something new. Anything new, Joe?
Hey, it all depends on where you're starting from, but I expect I will surprise you with a few things.
All right. Fantastic. And Thaddeus, what a great name, by the way. Thaddeus. It discusses federal AI mandates. You going to talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And from Gerald from FAA, security implications for security clearance requests.
That's kind of interesting. So I'll try and touch on it, but that may be a further discussion. Okay.
Maybe. And I love this one from Barry. Best briefing ever if it was his last.
Hey, Barry, I got to ask you, how close to retirement are you?
Exactly. That was my question, too. All right. And then please address ISO again. How AI can be used as a defensive mechanism for vulnerabilities and security holes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Jennifer, accuracy and security risks.
Yeah.
And specific agency requirements.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Brian, I think is this the Brian? This is Brian with an I. I don't know if this is you, Brian Treban, but if you have another question, we'll take it. How to use AI in the field of contracting. Actually, use cases first. Use cases.
Use cases. We got lots of use cases.
Fantastic. Tanya, field of contracting.
Yeah, kind of interesting there, but I think I'm touching on that one.
How about Tracy with HR?
Yeah.
All right. And impacts of protective measures to address threats. That goes back to a lot of concerns about that, right?
Yep.
And Darren, how the federal workplace can keep up with private industry when it comes to AI integration. That's a great question, Darren.
It is a great question, and we're going to touch on it. I will
All right,
touch on it.
fantastic. And standards and guidance for trustworthiness of AI
Yes.
for Rana and Hilda, examples of applicability in all. I don't know about all government areas. I don't know if you're going to do, you can do all government areas?
I'll show you where you can find all government areas. How's that?
All right, sounds good. And Marion, mitigating government risk, again, when monitoring
Yep.
contractors using AI for professional research reports. That's a little specific.
That's very interesting, and I'll point out a couple of tools.
And Marion, if you're around, we can turn that into a little bit of dialogue. All right, so let me do a little bit of a welcome here. This is the agenda. I'm not going to read it to you. You can read it for yourself, but we're going to go through a whole bunch of different things, right, Joe?
Oh yeah,
Starting
buckle
with-
up, Bucky.
What's that?
Buckle up, Bucky. We're going to move fast.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. All right. So, and we do have the session handouts. I'm gonna pop that in again for the session docs. And I want to make sure that you do have access to these. If you don't, if any reason this doesn't work for you guys, for the folks that just signed in, just let me know. We'll get a secondary email that comes out. It's a load of stuff that you got for us, Joe.
Yes, as well as these presentation slides will be part of a handout package, and make sure we'll get that in there also.
It's in there already, buddy.
Okay,
It's
cool.
in there. It's
All right.
in there. All right, so go ahead and click on the next thing. So with us, we do have Matt Sweet from Divine. Matt, tell us a little bit about Divine before we get started. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Joe too.
Sure. Thanks, Dave. Good afternoon, everybody. And I want to take the time to say thank you very much for attending today's Gov Brief. We're very excited to share with you and get some feedback and see how we can all wrap our heads around this new AI thing. So about Divine. Divine has been around for about 22 years, serving customers in federal, state, and local government, as well as commercial organizations in the Fortune 100 space and beyond. We're an 8A IT professional services firm. We specialize in business technology transformation, cyber, some workforce solutions, Salesforce and ServiceNow, as well as a bit of enterprise architecture and data analytics. We are on the GSA schedule. We are certified CMMI level 3, as well as ISO 9001, 20000, 27001. We obtained our interim top secret facility clearance, and we were just awarded our first federal government contract, hence the federal, state, and local, through the Department of Treasury, providing Salesforce integration and integration. So we also just received notice, hot off the presses, that we are an apparent awardee on Oasis Plus for both small business, total small business, as well as the 8A that was just released.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Excellent.
Oasis is a big deal.
Thank you very much. So if anybody has any questions, I was reading the best briefing ever notes. If you want to know how AI can help you, I saw the Social Security Administration was saying something about how to monitor contractors using generative AI, how you can implement it inside of your organization. I saw something from Housing and Urban Development. We're standing by to help. I mean, at the end of the day, it starts with the conversation, and hopefully a relationship can blossom. So thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the presentation.
Love it, love it. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Matt Sweet, ladies and gentlemen, you can reach out to him. Now, Joe's been around this cyber industry for just a little bit, right, Joe?
Few years.
Few years. So I always love hearing what Joe has to say. Number one, he's also, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see some photographs that Joe has made and done, and they are something else. There's some really cool photos. So I'm hoping you weave some of those in for us, Joe. Did you?
I slipped a few in.
Yeah, that's good.
It's always fun.
Fantastic. We always like to keep this a little bit light. And if anybody that's having trouble, we'll make sure that I know Jessica was having a little trouble getting those links. I'll make sure you get those in emails afterwards. But Joe, you're special advisor, qualified technical executive, founder of Project Management Institute in Chicago, all kind of pedigree here, ladies and gentlemen, both in cyber and also working in AI, right? Right, Joe?
Security, AI, risk,
all those things.
all those things.
And I do have one, while we're doing this, I'm going to close out this. Hold on a second. I mean, it is being recorded. You can record it, and yes, it is being recorded. In case you need to access it later, I'm going to end this poll. And here we go, Joe. We have a couple folks that are on the hot seat. Everybody trying to get their head around this thing.
Okay.
Right. And they want, and a lot of folks want to be part of the dialogue. And we have a couple Weisenheimers whose boss made it come. So we love that. And 26% have been here before. Thanks for coming back for Gov Brief.
Cool. Okay.
Very good. All right, Joe, what do we got up next?
Is it my turn?
I think it is.
Okay, come on here. All right. So, first comment. I'm going to move fast. I'll try and keep this as more conversational as I can, but buckle up because we're going to move fast. And I'm going to just give you a little bit of insight that there'll be some slides I'll flash up that I'm just going to touch on briefly, and I'm not going to read them to you. I'm just going to call them out as reference, and we're going to move on to the meat. Okay? Fair enough?
Yep.
So we start out with, do you know the name of your chief artificial intelligence officer for your agency? Yes, no, or I didn't even know I had one.
And there you go. And we're gonna make sure we click these out as quick as we can. Half the people already, Joe, are doing it. This is a great question. I didn't even know this was a thing.
It is a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
And do they have authority yet? I remember do you remember when they started doing the CISOs?
Oh, they're real. No,
they're real now.
They're real.
They started,
they
didn't have any budget, but as soon as they started having data breaches, all of a sudden they got budget.
If you don't know they're out there, I'm going to show you who they are.
All right, fantastic. Oh, we're getting another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any last minute stragglers, wallflowers want to participate in this? And boom, we got 75%. There you go. Here we go. 16% yes, 57% no, and 28% didn't have any idea. How about that?
Ooh, interesting. All right.
And
so
that's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. And hey, who was it that was just asking if what if I just learned anything new? What was that? Who was that said that? I got to find that. That was Jennifer. I learned new things. We just learned something new, Jennifer.
Okay, here we go. So how do you start this type of conversation? You know, often it's like we're up there scanning the skies and every one of your arms, your legs, your feet are going in different directions and your eyes are swiveling on your head and saying, what the hell is happening to me? And oftentimes when it's something new, we go with the nights are dark and full of terrors. I just couldn't resist putting in a Game of Thrones reference in there. But, you know, the nights are dark and full of terrors. So much stuff to learn. Okay, so.
And that's one of your picks, right? You actually took that picture?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I do a lot of wildlife photography just because it gets me out of technology.
Now, how far away was this picture from where you were, and did he care about you?
He cared about me, and I was about 120 feet away. And I was up in the north woods of Minnesota.
And so who was running slower than you that got it?
I veered off. They wouldn't get too close.
All right.
All right, let's move on.
All right.
Okay, so quick poll. When you think about cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, what do you see?
All right, let me get that one up. I didn't realize that was so close. All right, 1 second. What do you see? Now, when you're asking this about what do they see, this is just when you're thinking about it, right? When you think about it, what is it that you see? Is it?
Just put a comment in.
Just put a comment in. Let's see what folks have to say. Now, for you, I'd give them a couple seconds to fill it in. We got a few people that are filling it in. And we'll see what they have to say. How about that, Joe?
Yep.
All right. We'll give everybody another 15 seconds to do this. I'm interested in this. I love the fact that we can do this now on Zoom. This is a relatively new thing for being able to collect. This is great. Awesome information. So for you personally, what do you wind up seeing?
Are you asking me that question?
I'm asking you.
Oh, well, wait till we go to the next slide.
Okay. I'm setting you up, I guess.
You're
huh?
setting me up. You're
Setting
setting
you
me
up.
up. That you are.
All right, another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any last minute stragglers? All right. Now I'm going to see if we can share this. How do we share this? All right. View
I think you're
details.
gonna.
Hold on a second. I got to see the view details. So how to work smarter to protect it. Do you get to be able to see these? Can you?
I can't see them.
All right. Maybe I can.
Just read
Hold on
out a
second.
couple, then we'll move on.
Let me share out. I'm going to share out because I can see them.
Okay, go ahead.
We're going to go through these. All right. So how to work smarter and protect it. Let me see if I can make it bigger. There we go. Work together to get a better result. A means to boost productivity. Get information, writing, like it.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Risk areas. Comet speeding towards the Earth. I love that.
All right.
Safety risk concern. False
Terminator.
security.
Yeah.
Nice. The Terminator. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. Terminator, robot.
Yep.
Let's see what else we got. HAL.
That's just good feedback. Okay, cool.
I love it. All right. I'll stop sharing. You can pull it back.
Okay, let me pull it back.
There you go.
Okay, so what do you see? Let's get on to the next one. Cool. So when I think about AI and cybersecurity, what I see is that every disadvantage has its advantage. And there's pros and cons for everything that we'll do, right? But let's start at the top. Executive Order 14110, safe and secure, trustworthy development of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence holds extraordinary potential for both promise and peril. Promise and peril. Okay, the highlights, if we look at the Congressional Research Office, the highlights of that executive order focuses on providing guidance of the intention of the executive order about safety and security for AI, innovation and competition, worker support, consideration of AI bias. I'm going to touch on bias again later. Consumer protection, who's using it, privacy, federal use of AI across all agencies, and international leadership with our partners around the world. Okay. It created the White House Artificial Intelligence Agency, which is chaired by the Assistant to the President and Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. And as you can see, you're all in there. Every one of your agencies at some level is involved in the Oversight Committee at the White House. And OMB has also issued its guidance on how to implement and address the issues in the executive order, focusing on cross-functional interagency collaboration, managing AI risk and performance, competitive AI marketplace, testing, monitoring, building, evaluation into vendor contracts. I'll speak a little bit more about that later. Criteria for risk management and prioritizing performance, and requirement for AI incident reporting. Now, this is a very interesting one. Separate and distinct from cybersecurity incident reporting across the agencies back with CISA is a requirement for AI incident reporting. Okay. So it creates the Artificial Intelligence Officer role. OMB guidance creates the Artificial Intelligence Officer role. Designate within each agency within 60 days the issuance of a guidance for the CAIO for primary responsibility within your agency for the coordination and use of AI, promoting AI innovation, managing risk with AI, and carrying out the responsibilities described in Executive Order 13960 and Executive Order 14091. So just for reference, because those executive orders, which were previously released, what are they? Executive Order on Safe and Secure and Trustworthy Development of Artificial Intelligence, as well as the Executive Order for Advancing Racial Equity and Support for Underserved Communities. So that's very, very specific to bias in AI, okay? Now, they're all in your handout pack so that it's there. So if you're interested in finding out who your chief artificial intelligence agency officer, you can go out to ai.gov. Okay, you can look at it here. You can say who's who, where are all the guidance mechanisms that are out there, et cetera. We'll talk about use cases later, but here's a list of your chief AI officers. You can go here directly and find your agency in the who's who. You'll also see references to the OMB plan and whether or not it's been submitted or not submitted and where it's at, et cetera, and its status. Okay, so just to let you know that it's out there, the link is in the briefing deck. Okay. I am really amazed at the significant attention that our federal government is paying to AI. I really am. But even though we have so much attention to it, sometimes I'm sure it still feels like you're staring the lion right in the eye. And
Great
if
way to
you're
weave your pictures in here, man.
and if you're feeling that, you're right. Okay. It can be a bit disorienting. Okay. And I will tell you that right now, AI is the next big thing. It's all about hype, and it continues. There's so much hype in AI today. It's just driving the entire marketing media that's going on. And there's tons and tons and tons of experimental implementations going around industry and governments all around the world. And we're going to have some surprising findings today. Okay. At the practical level for cybersecurity, it can be quite disorienting. And speaking to the impacts on people, I just wanted to include this reference. Thomas Reichman, he's a well-published author. He's a well-published author. And if you're following anything that's going on in what I'll call the retail space in AI, there's tremendous disorientation going on out there in the publishing industries and in the education industries due to AI. So he actually went back to school to do a master's in AI, practical AI, at MIT. And he wrote an opinion article just this month on October 7th about his experience exposing a mistake that he feels many of us make, being glued our dignity to our own occupation and our jobs today, and a struggle to pry apart what's really going on around us with these dynamic changes. And he suspects that many people will agonize over this with AI transformations, which are most definitely going to overhaul perspectives of jobs, eliminate entire occupations, he believes. But the changes also present many opportunities to ditch the wounding notion that we each find in our calling and how to change or morph and retain our own identities going forward. Okay. So yes, it's disruptive. We're not really sure how it's going to impact all of us yet, but work with it. Work with it. The next thing I want to make sure that I cover is that artificial intelligence is as old as the earth. Man has been trying to perfect the way we think and act forever. Okay. And actually, the AI timelines go back to the 1950s. Alan Turing's test in 1950s. Artificial intelligence terminology was coined in 1956. The first chatbot was 1966. The Stanford Shaky the Robot at the AI conference at Stanford in 66. Joint conferences. Then we entered the AI winter in 1984. Okay. And it continued into the late 90s, but the first driverless car was 1986. Deep Blue Chess Program, 1996. Social robot at MIT in 1997. And then we've entered into an AI growth phase from the research perspective. IBM Deep Blue program, Jeopardy show. I was the chief technology officer at Novartis Pharmaceuticals in Switzerland. And I was actually invited with a few other executives from Novartis to go visit IBM and play Jeopardy against Watson, believe it or not, in New York.
That's
awesome. It was kind of interesting. So I've been playing around and touching AI for a long time. You've got Apple Siri, Alexa. Jeffrey Hinton joins Google in 2013. He's now left. Hanson Robotics, the first human-like facial expressions in robotics. Google DeepMind, AI Surge. The 2020 GPT, now we're into from 1.5 billion parameters to 175 billion parameters. And here's some of the controversy. So what is a parameter in a large language model? It's a piece of information. It's a piece of data. Where did they get all that data? They stole it. They scraped every website. They scanned every book. There's lawsuits all over the place, copyrighted information, et cetera. Don't be surprised that there's going to be some shifts on where you can use data, because stuff that you say is publicly available, it may be available to read on a website, but it doesn't mean you can use it for monetary purposes. Interesting. Anyway, Chatbox, Open AI GPT-4, Microsoft integrates, Google integrates GPT into Bard, into Bing, et cetera. So I just want you to know that this stuff is not new. It's been coming around for a long, long time. It's just very, very impactful. AI foundations. These are the slides. They're here. They're for your reference. They're in the handout. Capability bases, function based, narrow AI, artificial general intelligence, super intelligence, reactive machines, limited memory, theory of mind, self-aware. You can read this later. Okay. Types of learning, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised reinforcement. There's so much you can read about, and there's so many publicly available courses to help you with this. It's all there. Large language models, operating deep learning techniques for vast amounts of textual data, training processes and model performance, human feedback. Catch up on this later, please. Machine learning. This is where I got my toes into this when I was at Novartis with machine learning in deep data sets. They all use a decision process, an error function, and an optimization process and a feedback loop, which is why I question the term of artificial intelligence. Is intelligence artificial, or is it really just hyper advanced pattern recognition? Okay, so machine learning versus deep learning, you'll hear these terms all over the place. I'll make sure that you get the link to this MIT lecture, which was kind of interesting. And then the pros and cons. All right. Same as every other technology, you can get benefit. It's there forever. It doesn't go home to eat or go home and see its family. Yeah, I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing or not. They don't complain and resist change. You don't have to give them pay raises, so on and so on and so forth. So everybody hypes that as, hey, there's gigantic benefit. But there's also a downside. Many times it's wrong. It gets the wrong answer. There's legal and ethical gray areas that we're just coming to face. And right now, buried in here, little tiny, is this word hallucinations. I am flabbergasted that the AI industry has now coined and used the frame hallucinations to say that oftentimes AI gives you the wrong answer.
Is that what hallucinations really means?
Yeah. Okay. AI hallucination occurs when a large language model powering an artificial intelligence system generates false information or misleading results. Incorrect decision making, usually associated with incorrect textual output, but also appears in generated videos and images. And as a photographer, I can tell you there's so many artificially generated photo images out there, and you can spot them immediately because they're just not right.
It's something not right, right?
It's wrong. Okay,
something's just not right.
Yeah, and it usually has to do with smaller data sets and not training the stuff. And it's kind of interesting. Think about this: training your software. Okay. The other thing I want to leave you with is not every problem needs AI. If there's a benefit, go for it, but prove it out. But it doesn't mean that every problem you face should have AI applied to it. All right. So everybody's doing AI, or at least they're saying it. So I can tell you for a fact, Google, Microsoft, IBM, SAP, Oracle, OpenAI, they're all doing it. They're the developers. They're applying it. They're making it work. On the cybersecurity side, Darktrace, Fortinet, Checkpoint, Cybereason, CrowdStrike, Cylance, SentinelOne, McAfee. All your cybersecurity tool vendors say they're using AI, but I caution you to find out, are they truly using AI or just advanced deep learning and pattern analysis and recognition? Okay, examples of current tools: ChatGPT for transform models for text to text. On the visual side, text to visual output, DALL-E, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, etc. Some other stuff: business chatbots for customer interaction, nice Cyclone Smart, Qualifier AI for sales and marketing, Apollo AI for again in sales and marketing. If you're in human resources, take a look at Lena AI for workforce HR, Fetcher AI for recruiting, Firefly's transcribe and summarize voice conversations. And if you're looking at research stuff, take a look at something like Grammarly. Okay, the list of companies adopting using data sets and AI algorithms to grab data and summarize for research reports is amazing. Okay, where are you in your cybersecurity AI journey? Dave, pop it in there.
Popping it in there. And then we leave this open, open-ended. If you have any other questions, by the way, we can pop you guys open. And I was just exchanging with Brett there. Gotcha, Brett. Awesome. And is there any questions while we're here? And we got a couple of hands raised that could be just saying hi from earlier. Mark and Justin, did you want to pop open and chat for a second? Did you have something? Individual that you want to talk to? Because we don't mind popping it open, right, Joe?
Go ahead.
All right. So what I love about this question is and you left it open-ended instead of just feeding them answers, because because everybody's in a different place. And one of the questions that always comes up to me is, where is the data coming from, and is there a way to be able to protect your own intellectual property, or internal agency property, right? Where so that the machine learning isn't releasing the rest of everything else to the world.
Yeah. And I'm going to speak a little bit on the cybersecurity side for the CISOs and the cybersecurity professionals about using your vendor's tools or developing your own. And that's back to the contracting thing. That's one of the issues with using cybersecurity tool vendors, right? What data sets, that should be part of the procurement questions. What data sets are they using? Right?
Okay.
Where's the data coming from? Is it closed? Is it bound? Is it a large data set or a medium data set? Can you use your own private data sets with their tools?
So that's one of the questions. So how can you have do you have internal data sets that the machine learning can work on without exposing, like you said,
So-
the rest of the world that grabbed all that information and are disseminating that information in AI return to questions?
So you need really large data sets for things like text-to-text feedback, et cetera, right?
Okay.
So you need that because you're trying to pre-train your algorithms to pre-do stuff. So if you're doing ChatGPT, if you actually think it's doing a new search, they've already asked all these questions. It's just an index and it pops back the answer. Okay. When we started with deep learning, we would take our own data sets, we'd write our own algorithms, and we'd test it against our own data sets. Now, you have to keep retesting and refining, et cetera, and how big do you get? Maybe not 175 billion artifacts. That's the whole world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing pattern recognition in cybersecurity, you can get all of the threat signatures, put it in a data set, encapsulate it in your own software, and write your algorithm to match the pattern recognitions and see it coming in against your perimeters, okay? So that's why I asked, you could do that, or you could say, hey, you've got a cybersecurity tool vendor, ask them, what data set is it? Okay. Where is the data coming from? How is it bounded? How is it protected? And then are you using their algorithms or your own? So you have every option from develop your own to use a tool to bound the data sets so you can protect it, okay, or be totally open. It's all part of thinking through your strategy for applying AI for a particular task within your agency.
Love it. All right. So I'm going to end this poll, and let me pop this open so that you can see some of these results as well.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Not in the field, fairly advanced. I developed 2 AI capstone projects for Office.
Cool.
Nice.
Yep.
Outside of my government role, just starting, brainstorming, newbie. Okay, love it. Beginning steps, just started, 0. Sabrina, I love Sabrina. That's awesome. Beginning, identifying standards and practices. Love that for trustworthy AI. Not sure where to start. Hey,
That's
Denise,
fair.
you're not the only one, right?
That's the entire thing about being early stages is we're all over the place right now.
And Shannon, thumbs up for Shannon on the yellow brick road. I love that. And no comment from Glenda. I'm not even telling you.
NRC, I would expect you to say no comment. That's okay. I appreciate that.
All right, fantastic. All right, right back at you. You can pop that back on.
Okay, here we go. All right, so we get a sense of where you are. Let's continue. So if you're looking for use cases, you know what? I found that a number of the agencies are pretty advanced in looking at use cases, et cetera. So let's go down here. Let's go pick an agency. So just because it's cybersecurity, Department of Energy, Homeland Security. So if we look at Homeland Security, all right, so they have an AI roadmap in place in DHS. Let's go down the list a little bit. They have their plan. They have their governance board. They know what they're doing. I'm trying to find the use cases. They have a roadmap. And here's the DHS use case inventory. Okay, we'll pop out to there. Okay, so now let's take a look at, cybersecurity, infrastructure security agency use cases that they're promoting. Scoring and feedback, automated indicators sharing for automated PII detection, good. Advanced analytics for forensics, network anomaly alerting, pattern recognition, AI security robustness, critical infrastructure anomaly reporting. This is all great stuff. So there's a lot of work that's already been done when it comes to cybersecurity with CISA that you can go to these use cases and get the guidance on how to apply it or use it. So this is why I'm saying I'm really, really impressed with the oversight, et cetera, that's gone into this so far.
I really like the fact that you can click and then engage with the team if you need additional components.
Go directly to it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, so knowing that's all there, I'll just highlight again, and I'm going to move quickly again. It's everywhere in your federal IT organization. Everything is linked from the management council to the oversight councils to the CFOs to the acquisition officers to performance improvement councils to the privacy councils to the chief information officer council, so on and so forth, down to the CISOs. Okay. The CIO Council and the CISO Council, you can link directly to these guys at cio.gov. You can also connect with the Chief Data Officers Council, where their focus is on getting every agency to collaborate on the business of data, data for culture, data inventory, data sharing, so on and so forth. And if you're playing this game, it's going to require significant collaboration from the cybersecurity side with the CISOs, with CISA, and the chief data officers, okay? So the CISA roadmap for AI is out there. It is provided as one of the handouts, responsible use for AI support, shoring systems, et cetera. It's all about cyber defense, risk reduction, operational collaboration, and unification of use across your agencies. The idea of every agency doing something on their own, I think, is kind of passe for a long time right now. Okay. NIST has issued an update to the risk management framework with a separate document just for AI, with a core focus on risks related to harming people, harm to organizations, and harm to ecosystems through poor use of AI. It's out there as part of the handout. It defines the life cycle for building AI systems within the federal agencies for plan, design, et cetera. All the details are out there for you to use. You don't have to start and do this all by yourself. And separately highlights the characteristics of what trustworthy AI is. Safe, secure, resilient, explainable, interpretable. We never used to talk this way about pure software development, explainable and interpretable. Privacy enhanced, and fair without harmful bias managed, or with harmful bias managed, okay? And accountable and transparent, all right? And valid and reliable. The CISO handbook is out there. If you're a CISO and on this call, I'm sure you know this is out there. What I was surprised is I have not seen this handbook updated for AI specific topics. Okay. GAO Accountability Office has issued its accountability framework for governance, data performance, and monitoring of AI. And GSA has its acquisition guidelines already in place for generative AI and special computing infrastructure and hardware acquisition and resources.
And can I say something about that real quick, Joe?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've talked to some contracting officers because they kind of got overrun with AI generated proposals.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're actually looking for ways to be able to detect AI generated proposals, using AI to detect AI generated. Just
So
saying.
there are AI detecting software houses out there. I didn't put those in here, but that's probably something for a follow-up. Okay.
That's funny.
It's no different than the types of tools that are being used in education today to spot AI generated research reports. Okay. All right. So cybersecurity is definitely a challenge. Everything is the same, yet everything is different, or is it? All right. So if you're a CISO, your scope expands. You've got AI and agency tools and software as a service. You got AI and third-party tools and software as a service. And you've got AI and cybersecurity tools and software as a service. And you're trying to deal with the trustworthiness and security of all this while the bad actors are using the same tools to come at you. So what has really changed is the scale and velocity. So my personal perspective and experience in security is that the things you're facing with as a CISO really haven't changed. The threats haven't changed. They're just coming at you faster and faster and faster. So we talk about scale and velocity. So how do you deal with the speed of velocity is you need to use the same tools as the bad guys are going to use. So good guys and bad guys, everybody's doing it. And AI most definitely is instrumental in advancing detection of enhanced threats, data deluges, observability, shifting left with AI. This is a big topic in the consulting communities today. Shift left, shift left. That means moving more capabilities into operations to improve the speed and accuracy of your operations and detection. Shift left. So that everybody interprets that as displacing people. And I'm going to tell you not necessarily so. Enhanced security products and artificial intelligence as a service. Okay. Actionable insights from the SANS Institute. Be proactive. Cloud APIs, dataset security vulnerabilities, and unique AI vulnerabilities. Encrypt, anonymize, and tokenize emerging new threats. I think are really the same threats. It's just speed, speed, speed. So strengthen and use the tools for your own AI defense, automate where it makes sense, enhance the speed of your detection, and refine your risk management and analysis. How do we deal with the risks of AI? It's guardrails, governance and guardrails. When guardrails do not exist, AI can perpetuate biases, create privacy risks, give you bad answers, and be misused for harmful purposes. And bias is a real thing. Age, socioeconomical, geographical disability, and political bias. Your guardrails should focus on the governance for, protections, watermark validation, testing, errors and feedback, guidelines for security, training, use of data, ethical use of data and answers, regulatory, property rights, legal, government, AI-related harm, biometric information sharing. Some are different, some are not, than the types of guardrails you already use. If you're looking for guardrails and specs, I'll just give you a couple of quick examples. You can pop out to OpenAI has just recently made public their guardrails. It's out there. The link is in the deck. You will have all this information. Okay. Why do guardrails exist? Let's look at NVIDIA. This is the hardware vendor behind almost everything going on in AI at the computational level. We have to make sure that people cannot prompt engineer to get your private information on other employees. Amazon, if you're using Amazon, they have published and made available their guardrails. It's there for you to take a look at and dig in. You can replicate it. They're making it publicly available to you in your use. Okay, so when we talk about guardrails, it's about when you have a user input, okay, to AI, the guardrail puts barriers around or fences around denied topics, content filters, privacy information redaction, and word filters, so that when you get a final response, your output is not harmful. At least that is the intent. Okay. And it just announced this morning, early morning news feeds, national security memorandums coming out. Jake Sullivan, who is your national security advisor, will announce today the issuance of a new national security memorandum on AI security and guardrails for U.S. military and national security agencies. Very specifically, humans in the loop. Quote, You do not want AI pushing the button for a nuclear missile launch, end quote. Okay.
Anybody getting flashbacks to Matthew Broderick and the Whopper right now? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you are not of Joe and my generation, right, Joe?
There you go. Okay. Not even sure I know what that one is, but that's okay. All right,
That's
I got to move
war
quick.
games, man.
I know. I got to move quick here. We're going to run out of time. All right. Malicious prompts exist. I don't have to go after this. I think you guys will know they're out there.
Would you like to play a game? See, everybody
So-
else got it.
Conversations. I've been out there talking to the people who actually do the work in the pure AI companies. What are they saying? We are in the first wave of AI. It's not fully baked. Hallucinations, must verify, be safe. We're learning as we go. We're hungry for data, transparency and privacy, vendor risk and privacy and security, audit models, encryption, compliance. Okay. Shadow AI. Gartner estimates that in the commercial sector, 80% of employees are using AI or playing with it, and 50% of them don't know what they're doing. AI is, if it's present as shadow, it may be a challenge to the IT staff, but hey, what? Leverage it because they're breaking the code and they know things. They're learning as they go. Leverage that knowledge. AI ROI is very hard to measure. People, it's like intuitive. Oh, AI is going to give us a benefit. Nobody's measured it accurately yet. Okay.
I do want to let me throw out a comment from Brett Jones. He couldn't get it into the poll fast enough, but
Go ahead.
prototyping and security are a very uncomfortable marriage. Prototyping is to figure out through trial and error. Here you're talking about that. Security is not a fan of trial and error projects. So
Yeah,
it
I
feels
know.
like cyber is limiting our exploration into technology out of fear, maybe justified, but it hurts his role as an innovator. Just saying.
I would tell you that the opportunity to deal with that is through governance and guardrails. Through governance and guardrails, how you want to address the security issues for AI. Okay. But I'm welcome to a sideline conversation on this. So I understand your input and I feel you. I really do. So autonomous AI, I don't believe it's anywhere getting to, Terminator levels. You need guardrails, no harm. No, this is from the AI companies, principles, truths, data quality, cleanse your data, check your bias, threat detection to response, and put the human in the loop. Don't take them out. If you're looking at your cybersecurity teams, et cetera, it's about strategy, approach, structure, operational efficiencies, governance principles, and guardrails. This is what the AI companies are telling you to pay attention to. Train, test, and tune your own LLMs and models. Okay. Behavior monitoring, anomaly detection, AI response, human in the loop keeps coming up. The feedback I'm getting is we're 3 to 5 years in the commercial industry from seeing real cybersecurity AI tools. Okay.
Wow.
All right. A lot of money being spent. $34 billion in the last couple of years has been invested in pure play AI dev firms. And 1/3 of that went to OpenAI. Okay. OpenAI just took in October, $6 billion plus $4 billion line of credit in investments. They're shifting from nonprofit to profit. They had $3.6 billion in revenue in 2024 on commercial use and $5 billion in losses. This is really, really expensive to do on that large scale. That's why I talk about the hype. Focusing again on teams and orgs. Recognize AI security is mandatory. It is mandatory. Safety needs need to be built in. Reduce your hallucinations. Red teams to test the AI models. Don't let AI development go on without your involvement from a cybersecurity perspective. Foundational models versus operational models. Separate them. Learning, more hallucinations, hard to test bias, etc. Quick poll. My biggest challenge with AI and cybersecurity is, and make this a quick poll, we're going to run out of time, Dave.
Yep, you got it. And while they're answering that, I'm not going to share everything about what some folks are kicking back and forth, but a lot of agencies are still working on the guardrail problems, right?
Sure.
Trying to figure out where those guardrails really need to be.
Yep.
And sometimes that results in, hey, just stop everything. until we get those guardrails up. And that makes sense to a certain degree, right? But that really does inhibit things. You can keep on rolling. We'll make sure we'll pop that back up before we finish up. But go ahead and keep rolling while that polls up.
Let me keep going then. All right. If I was your CISO, I'd be focusing on use cases, training data, machine learning, LLMs, and Python and AI training to some level for your cybersecurity staffs, or collaborate directly with your CAIOs, your CDOs, and CISOs as in your software development teams. If you're going to do your own work, figure it out. Okay. But deeply involved in evaluating your security tools vendors. What AI? What LLMs? What data sets? Are they public or private? What AI method are they using for development tests and validation? What are their guardrails? Can you use your own AI data set, your own data sets to feed them? AI is a change management exercise on steroids. This is Mangala Cooper, who's the Department of Labor Chief AI Officer in a recent interview. She's also their CTO and Director of Innovation Engineering. She says, AI is still so new. Ultimately, this is a management exercise at this point. I jokingly say it's change management on steroids because the time to learn, adapt, and implement is being crunched on expectations on us, okay? And where can you use AI and where should you not use it? Elham Tabassi, who is the Chief Technology Officer of the U.S. AI Safety Institute inside of NIST, says, I'm not going to pretend to say that we at NIST have all the answers. Coming up with a systemic way of evaluating is exactly what you're after. We don't have the answers for that yet. And then you have Beth Barnes, who's CEO of the Model Evaluation and Threat Research company, says they know so much about whether the next word is going to be is versus was. This is the GPT LMMs. We are just playing with a tiny bit on the surface, and there's all of this miles and miles underneath. Okay, we're in the early stages. You can get out to NIST and get directly to the NIST Artificial Intelligence Safety Institute, and they have already provided developmental guidance for managing misuse and risk in foundation models. Okay. And if you want a couple of laughs and you want to follow the AI safety clock, this is kind of interesting. Go out to IMD, the International Institute for Management Development in Switzerland. I've actually taken courses with them, and I've actually lectured at some of their courses. It's kind of fun. But anyway, a bunch of researchers out there have the safety clock going. And then I'll give you this from Jan LeCun, who is actually cited as one of the three godfathers of AI. He's an NYU professor. He's a senior researcher at Meta, and he's the 2019 Turing Award winner in neural networks. In an article, quote, this AI pioneer thinks AI is dumber than a cat. LeCun thinks today's AI models, where they're great, are far from rivaling the intelligence of our pets, let alone us. When I ask whether we should be afraid that AI will soon grow so powerful that they pose a hazard, he quips, you're going to have to pardon my French, but it's complete BS. Okay. All right, things are never as good as or bad as they first appear. I say this all the time when we're facing these kind of things. And as my closing argument, I will say the theory and strategic planning for the use of AI in agency cybersecurity is the easy part. The hard part will be in the doing. Okay, what's next? Continue the conversation. I don't know if you want to throw that poll up.
I'm gonna throw this poll up so that we can continue the conversation. Hang on, where is that? There we go. And I will we'll review the other poll in just a second when we get this one done. So it's good stuff. There's some folks that have to jump because it's getting close to the end.
I know it's getting close, and I apologize for that. It's like I said, buckle up, a lot of stuff here.
That was a lot. That was a fire hose of information. So if you need some additional information, please reach out. We can if you have a project or something like that, as I mentioned earlier, you're under no obligation to purchase from any vendor, including Divine. But if you want to, you can, because Matt has just let us know you're on Oasis now, right?
Both small business and the 8A track.
That's fantastic. And if you need some other pieces, go back there for just a second, Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can grab information. You also have a GSA contract, and for contracting people, if you need something run a specific way, you know how the game works. They have partners that can help you run those through for hub zone, service disabled, woman owned, whatever it is that you need, they can help you do that. And so everybody knows this is being recorded. We talked about that earlier. You can go to the next one, Joe. And at the end of the day, you'll get a briefing presentation recap, which includes the video and links to the session, as well as all the documentations all the docs that Joe put up there, as well as access to one-on-one meetings with Matt. Matt, you're gonna take point if anybody wants to meet with Joe. There's some folks that are asking for that right now, so we'll make sure you have that. And there's Matt's information for those of you that have to get out of here. Well, we really appreciate you guys joining us. If you have additional questions, you can raise your hand. You can pop it into the Q&A or the chat, and I will do my best to have those answered. And we'll make sure we get you what you need if you have to jump.
Absolutely. And if anybody has the ability to stick around a little bit longer, I'm happy to stay online and talk some more with you directly. And if you'd like to get to me directly just for continued conversation or deep dive, just ping Matt. Let Matt know, and we'll schedule it.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Expect to hear from us. We'll send you an email following it up. And really, we'd love to talk to you. So thank you for your time.
And we'll take a look at where you guys are in the AI. I can't open those up when this other poll's running, apparently. That's one of the things I can't do. Any last minute questions? Let's see. John says, I better ask a question. With AI, is easier to get forgiveness or permission? That's a great question, John.
Well, that comes up all the time. I've heard that since I, was a pup in the Navy. All right. Try it out. This is what I'm telling you. If you got shadow AI out there, don't squash it. Embrace those people who are learning how to use tools and in what their learning is. So, however, I'd be really cautious because AI can give you some really bad results right now. If your algorithm is off or your data sets are off or there's bias in there, before you go full hard production, test and validate it. So don't ask for permission when you're trying to build something and test it, but before you put it in production, be really, really sure.
And so Mark was asking this earlier. He wants to understand more about Dragon program. Is that something you know about? It's with the VA?
No, I'm not as familiar as maybe I should be on Dragon, but that's an easy thing to rectify and connect with.
All right. And let's see. So Joseph from the VA wants to know about the use of ChatGPT 4.0 for non-sensitive VA information in support of their mission and adhering to their values. Is that something that you would recommend?
Okay. So, personal opinion, okay? Don't call this a baked-in industry opinion, but my personal opinion. When you're playing with ChatGPT, understand the difference. If you just go out to OpenAI's ChatGPT website and you want to play with it, or if you actually sign up for fuller access, if you're putting in text prompts, you're going against their data set, large language model, okay? Mm-hmm. So this is the idea of using ChatGPT. It's about using the algorithms and prompts, the training of the algorithm with prompts against a data set, large language model. Quote. So you want to put it against your VA data set, or are you going to put it out there in the worldwide open data set and expect to get responses that are specific to you? Those are two different things. Mm-hmm. I would not recommend in taking your private VA information, okay, and trying to source that through the open world. Just stop that, right? Yeah, separate the use of the algorithms and prompting from your data sets. If you want to procure for that, that's a conversation to have in contract with OpenAI.
That's a great answer. And I heard somebody say, hey, if it's free or really cheap, then you're the product.
Yeah, it's absolutely true because they're taking everything that you use and reusing it against you. And this is why I say don't be surprised. There's thousands of lawsuits already teed up, and most of these are going to wind up at the Supreme Court level because of this massive stealth scraping of all information in the world by a couple of companies. Okay.
And David Jones said more differentiations with regard to AI and what is just clever batch automation. I think you were talking about that too, right?
No, it truly is. It truly is. So everything behind this is all about pattern recognition. Even ChatGPT in text is like you're trying to predict what the next word is. It's based on looking at billions of streams of text and massive amounts of computing. So let's not be fooled by the massive amounts of computing used for this. We're running out of power in the United States for the data centers. Microsoft just inked a deal with an electrical company in Ohio, okay, to reactivate their nuclear power plants that are already decommissioned, and that IB in Ohio for the planned data center expansions in Ohio by Microsoft, and that Microsoft has committed to buying 100% of the electrical output of, I think it was, I may be wrong on the numbers, so forgive me, I think it was 4 nuclear power plants.
100%?
100%. Okay. So massive amounts of stuff, et cetera. And in separating it, it really is pattern recognition. It's pattern recognition on steroids. What we're doing today, even with neural networks, is still pattern recognition. The neural networks allow you to connect different layers of the recognition and tie it all back. Okay. But it's not true human intelligence. Okay. Not yet.
And Shoshana's asking for this link, which is the link to the AI use in government. So I just popped that in for you and everybody else that would like the direct link for that. And Richard is saying this is the biggest thing since Y2K. And I don't.
Yeah, and if you remember Y2K, that sort of flubbed out too, didn't it?
I still think it might happen, Joe.
What's that? Super intelligence?
It could still happen.
Oh, it could still happen. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Give me a break. Okay. I never thought I'd lose my hair either. All right. Cool.
Oh my gosh. Let's see if I'm just scrolling back. Anybody else got any last minute questions before we jump? A lot of people are saying great presentation. Tamika, thank you very much. Carmen, you too. Lisa, great. Glad you did. Brian, you're welcome. And everybody else that you're welcome. Shoshana. Great stuff. All kind and if you know anything now, you know Joe's just going to give it all to you as quick as he can, and so that you can have as much as you need. Now, just know, it all comes down to what you're doing every day, right, Joe?
Yeah.
And if you need help, reach out to Matt. Matt had to jump to go to another meeting at 2:00, so he's not here anymore. But if you need anything else, if you filled out the poll, amending that poll. We love that. Great stuff, Joe. Look at that.
Thank you.
Everybody's saying that you did a great job. I think you did a great job as well. So we appreciate you guys joining us. Joe, awesome. And we'll let people get out of here and do something for the rest of the day.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. Really appreciate your time.